Global growth has lost momentum over the first half of 2022, as evident from global economic indicators. Correspondingly, this discussion is on nowcasting global growth. Global economy was on the cusp of recovery when it was hit by a mammoth geopolitical shock. Escalation of geopolitical tensions have also led to a broad-based increase in global commodity prices, with the potential of keeping elevated inflation persistent and undermining global trade and growth. This chart demonstrates global economy grew by 6.1% in 2021, the highest in 6 decades, but is now projected to decelerate to 3.6% in 2022 and 23 by World Economic Outlook, and 2.9% in 22 and 3% in 23 as per GEP. This has prompted some to expect the current decade to be rolling 2020s. This chart displays Global Index of Industrial Production, or commonly known as IIP, and trade volume slowed down in March 2022. Composite Global PMI Index accelerated marginally in May 2022. After 2 consecutive months of deceleration during March and April, driven mainly by expansion in new orders, both manufacturing and services. This shows global food and energy prices have skyrocketed, resulting in higher and more broad based inflation than in several decades. Brent crude oil hit an average of 120.7 USD per barrel in June so far, the highest since June to April 2008, average of 129.9 USD per barrel. Current oil price shock has been described to be one of the biggest in decades. This illustrates global food prices measured by both the Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, and the International Monetary Fund were at an all-time high in April this year and expected to remain elevated due to supply disruptions. This reveals global commodity prices measured by IMF, and as chart demonstrates, all the food, agriculture, fertilizer, fuel, natural gas, coal, and crude oil prices are on rise. This shows high correlation between GDP growth of major economies, suggests that business cycle across countries have become highly synchronized. As per chart, they have considered India, US, Brazil, UK, Russia, Japan, China, South Africa, South Korea, Ukraine, and EU. And also, the global scenario has also been indicated. This exhibits two alternate scenarios are considered for the forecasting exercise. Under the baseline scenario, Global IIP during April to June is assumed to grow at the same year-on-year rate as during the previous 6 months. Alternative scenario assumes a much slower growth rate of 2% for April to June to capture risks to the global economy. As it emerges, extension of OECD database to first quarter of 2022 using first quarter of 2022 GDP growth rates for 35 countries indicates that the momentum of global GDP growth during first half for the first part of 2022 has lost steam sequentially and annually, possibly entering contractionary zone. As regards the model-based forecast of global GDP for first quarter of 2022 and second quarter of 2022, global GDP growth momentum seems to have decelerated in first quarter 2022 and is likely to contract in second quarter. Decline is expected to be much sharper under the alternative scenario. Global growth has lost momentum for the first half of 2022 as evident from incoming data. The outlook is fluid and uncertain. In this highly uncertain environment, endeavor will be to track global GDP and subsequently inflation as contemporaneous basis as possible so as to keep all stakeholders forewarned and forearmed. Presentation reference is from Reserve Bank of India Bulletin of June 2022, themed as Nowcasting Global Growth. Thanks for watching.